everybody, welcome back to another Hump Day lunch hour with yours truly, Alexis Torres. So happy Wednesday, happy Hump Day, happy everything. I hope all is well. There was really nothing much going on besides the fact that I am still adulting because I am still trying to find an apartment. We think we might have found one somewhere in downtown, but the bad thing is it's on the other side of where my work is, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to do with that drive, so that's gonna be a little weird. But that's what I wanted to talk about today, was driving. So, California drivers just don't know how to drive, and I don't understand how some of them still have their license, or they're still driving, or how they're not dead. Let's just be honest. And I'm going to be a little bit more blunt than I usually am on these things, but it doesn't make sense. I don't even have a question, excuse me, for this Hump Day vlog. It's mostly just what's the worst, either a driving story you've ever had, or seen, or whatever. Because I don't understand why people are such terrible drivers, especially out here, or when you see videos of people driving and they're absolutely terrible. Don't get it. Where did it come from? How did this happen? How did you get a license? But the reason I wanted to talk about that today was because when I went to go get lunch today, which Hump Day Lunch Hour is brought to you by Panera Bread, that I sat there, and the way that the Panera is near my job is that there's this newly re-outfitted kind of outdoor mall that has pretty much everything is expensive. Every single little thing except for the Costco and the Panera Bread that's there. But everything's vegan and healthy and whatchamacallit, specialty coffee, specialty food, whatever. Except for the Panera and the Costco. I don't know. So I have to park in this specific parking lot to get to Panera and Costco. So that's where I parked. And so I'm getting out, and there's this giant crosswalk for you to get from one side of Costco into the Village, is what it's called. And it's just a really nice area. So I get there, and I'm about to cross the street. Mind you, I'm not on my phone. I'm completely aware of my surroundings. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally waiting for my time to cross, which doesn't have a little blinky light that goes walk or don't. It's just if you're walking, you need to stop, especially if you're driving. So as I'm walking, there's another car that obviously sees me, so he stops. But the funny thing is, there's two stop signs. There's one right at the crosswalk, and then there's one before it so that it teaches everyone to slow down before they get there. So this young buck decided, that's what he looked like from his window and how he yelled at me, in his BMW, decided to run both stop signs, and he didn't even stop for me, which I was already in the lane that he was in, on my side of the crosswalk. So of course, because I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I'm gonna die, I back up. I take a few steps back. As he proceeds to drive past me full speed, his window's down because he's listening to music, and he's like, sorry for your ears, everybody, if you are sensitive to cursing or whatever. He literally goes, get out of the way, you fucking bitch, and proceeded to flip me off and drive away into the parking structure. You're not going anywhere. You literally have to stop to get the little parking ticket so that you can proceed into the parking lot. I don't understand why you have to go 20 miles an hour or 30 miles an hour through the stop signs to when you have to stop 5 miles or whatever to get what? It didn't make sense. And I was sitting there going, I'm sorry, I guess it's my fault for using the crosswalk like I'm supposed to. So I'm upset. And the guy who actually stopped for me was like, I'm so sorry, he's a terrible human being. And I'm like, no, it's okay. But the fact is, I want to know is what would have happened if he hit me? There are so many other people there. They weren't crossing, but there were some people eating right in front of me. There was one woman actually thought I was going to get hit. She was taken aback, and I moved. And a bunch of Costco people were there, families, kids, whatever. And they were just like, oh my God. Because I would have been like, what would have happened if he actually hit me and my body went flying and whatever? Then what? Is he going to be like, oh my God, look at this fucking bitch. She got in my way. Or what? Or are you going to sit there and have to complain to daddy that, oh no, I've got blood all over my white BMW. I don't understand. So that's the main thing, is I don't understand drivers, especially here in California. Anybody I know who's moved from the East Coast, overseas, whatever, another planet, is I don't understand why California drivers are so bad. I don't know either, and I've lived here all my life. It doesn't make sense, because I'm sitting there and there are times where people are swerving into each other's lanes or cutting each other off or they actually hit you and they get mad at you. And I'm like, I don't understand why you're mad at me when you're the one who broke the rule, unless I deserved it. If I ran out there and I was like, oh, I'm running here, this is where I'm supposed to be, then sure, I would totally take the fact that I wasn't paying attention and do that. But I was looking at him because I was like, oh my gosh, that guy's driving kind of fast. Maybe I should back up just in case. Because, you know, when you feel that, oh my God, this person's probably going to hit me, you usually act on it. But this time I was like, oh, I'm going to back up. And he still called me a bitch either way. I'm so confused. And like, also, as I'm about to, I grab my food and I get in my car and I'm about to leave, there's a Mercedes that clearly saw me getting into my car. And I said, hey, do you want my spot? And he's like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And I get in my car, and I see another lady who's coming in from the opposite side because he's waiting over here. And he has his blinker on. And he's like waiting for me to back out. This lady who stops in the middle of the exit is just like, has her blinker on. And I'm like, what are you doing? You can clearly see someone is waiting to turn into my spot, but you're gonna wait there. So I back up and she's in the middle. I can't get around her because there's people walking on the other sides because it's a parking lot. And I can't squeeze around her because she's in the middle. And I'm like, what are you doing? So of course Mercedes, being impatient, decides to just take the spot without even waiting for me to actually get out of the way. So I have to move very slowly, inching, and then he just turns and parks and gets out. And I'm just sitting there going, I look at her and I'm like, what are you doing? And she proceeded to look straight forward because she was so embarrassed that she did something really stupid. But I'm like, use your brain. First, I'm already backing out. Your husband gets out of the car to go to Costco while you are sitting in the middle of the exit way and your entryway. Like, you're in the middle of the lane, like on top of the white line. What? I don't understand. And then everybody gives me weird looks because I'm literally so close to the pedestrians on the other side because I have to move my way around her because she couldn't move and didn't want to. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't get it. And every single time I'm just like, this is why I hate to drive. And the reason I hate to drive is because I was one of those oddball teenagers who was like, I don't need to drive. All my friends are driving. My boyfriend at the time is driving. So I could just hitch a ride with them. Who cares? And then I actually didn't get my license until I graduated college. So I was already, 21, 22 years old when I got my license. And yeah, I was 21. And sadly enough, when I was like 19 years old, I had a bunch of friends who were either learning how to drive or already had their license. They're like, Lexus, let's go driving somewhere. And it's like 2:00 at night. And we go driving and it's pitch black. There's no lights. There's no street lights. And we're just like, let's go driving. And of course I was like, oh, I'll just go with you. I'm not going to drive. But everyone's taking turns. And finally it's my turn to go. And I'm like, no, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to do it, guys. I think I'm good. No, come on, we'll help you. We'll teach you. And I'm like, oh, fine. So I get in the car, being stupid. I shouldn't have gotten into the driver's seat. I'm waiting at a stop sign. There's someone behind us. And they're like, go, Alexis, go, go, go. Music blasting, everyone's yelling. So I hit the gas. Mind you, I have nowhere. I don't know where we are. It's dark. I can't see anything. And so I hit the gas and there's like a fallen tree. Instead of me trying to avoid it because I couldn't see it, they're like, Alexis, hit the brakes. I like go right through it. And like the car starts to swerve and I hit the brakes finally because I'm freaking out. And we almost fell over a cliff. At that point, I was like, I never want to drive. And mind you, it wasn't just their fault. It was my fault. I should have known better to not give in to peer pressure and be like, yeah, I can totally drive this. And they'll totally support me. We're all 19 years old. Like, it doesn't make sense. And we weren't under the influence. We didn't have any drugs in our system. We were just hyper. Pretty much. And me and that girl didn't talk because I completely fucked up her car. She had a flat tire. Her whole hood was completely scratched. It was a nightmare and I regretted it and it haunted me. It still haunts me until this day as I'm driving. And it's just another thing to add to my anxiety on top of the fact that I crashed my friend's car. And luckily enough, later down the road when we became much older, actually recently, we actually became friends. Never brought that up that whole night. And I'm glad that we didn't. But I'm glad that she's understandable and we just kind of let it go. I mean, I thought she was going to make me pay for her car, and I'm glad that she didn't. So, I mean, stuff like that. But long story short, what's your, like, oh man, I don't know what time I left. What's your, like, crazy driving story of, like, someone who was driving, or maybe you were driving, or whatever? Like, I actually haven't gotten into a real accident yet, knock on wood. But I've gotten into fender benders. I've also almost gotten hit, things like that. So, I mean, who knows? I'm also trying to see if this lady behind me is going to hit me because she's really close to my car. But anyway, tell me all the things. And thanks, guys, for adding to the adulting stuff. A lot of people really answered. Some people tweeted me. Some people did that. So use that hashtag Humpday Lunch Hour. I super appreciate you guys tuning in and talking to me about stuff. Again, let me know if there's anything you want me to talk about in these vlogs. Next week, I'm probably going to talk about singing, since a lot of people have brought up that new app I've been using. I'm not sponsoring them, I'm just saying, or not, they're not sponsoring me, I like it. It's called Smule, S-M-U-L-E. I sing karaoke, and I'll get into more of that later because there's some other past stuff that goes into that, but whatever. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Be safe out there, whether you're driving, flying, or, you know, whatever, if you're on wheels or not. And keep fighting, keep flying, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Bye!